Do people who have already been infected with the CCP virus develop natural immunity? NTD's Jason Perry spoke with a Harvard professor of medicine who says natural immunity is quite effective.
Harvard professor Martin Kulldorff has been working with vaccines for over 20 years. He spoke on natural immunity.
People who have had COVID already and they have natural immunity, they have at least as good and probably better immunity than somebody who's vaccinated. So they are even less likely to spread it.
He says it's not right for New York City to require proof of vaccination and to discriminate against those with natural immunity.
Like in New York City, the restaurants require people to vaccinate it, but people who have had recovered, they are not allowed to go to the restaurant. So that doesn't make any public health sense at all. So that's just political, it's not public health.
He says some countries have already acknowledged natural immunity, such as Denmark, where if you show that you have had COVID-19, it's just like showing that you're vaccinated. He says it's critical to keep the public's trust when dealing with vaccines because the polio and measles vaccines are important to public health.
So it's counterproductive to impose these mandates, and of course even more when there's no scientific logic in how these mandates are implemented by forcing those with natural immunity. But what these sort of vaccine fanatics now are doing, wanting to force everybody to get a vaccine, even those that do not need it, that's doing more damage to vaccine confidence than have ever been done before. So I think that's very bad for public health.
Professor Kulldorff also wrote an affidavit in a lawsuit against George Mason University. A law professor there is suing the university over its vaccine mandate since he already had COVID-19 and developed antibodies, giving him natural immunity. The Harvard professor says that if you haven't had COVID and if you're above 50 or 60 years old, then he strongly urges you to get the vaccine. But for those who have had COVID, they have at least as good and probably better immunity than someone who is vaccinated. And for the vaccine mandates, he says there should absolutely be no vaccine mandates and that they're counterproductive. Jason Perry, NTD News, New York.